So what we're looking at right here is Costco's new pre-built gaming PC for $2,600, and it is equipped with an RTX 5080, and the CPU of choice, it's using the latest 12-core AMD Ryzen, the Ryzen 9900X. Inside this pre-built MSI gaming PC. Which other impressive specs, because we do have Wi-Fi 7, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which can be upgradable. 64 gigs would have been ideal, but beggars can't be choosers. 2 terabyte M.2, and of course, Windows 11. So let's go ahead and not only unbox it, check out its internal components, what brands it's using, how the wire management is, and check out its Geekbench scores overall when it comes to gaming as well as processing power. But this is actually a pretty competitive price, because if you go ahead and build one on your own, even an air-cooled one, not liquid-cooled, this one's liquid-cooled, comes out to be around the same exact price point. So let's go ahead and unbox this and see what Costco gives us out of the box. And as always, let's go ahead and reload our box cutter and get this going. So let's see, out of the box, we get all the important paperwork stuff, power supplies, additional SATA cables if you like to extend the storage, instruction guides on how to remove the airbag, the packaging foam and stuff. They do give us peripherals, so we do have a keyboard and mouse combo, which will probably upgrade to something much better. And the PC itself, I am going to be required to put the box down. Oh, it's actually pretty light. Oh god, take this foamy part out. Wow, this thing has handles. Look at that. It comes in a cool bag. What? And it's also Velcro. So of course it gave us the computer upside down. So let's go ahead and flip this. And boom. Here she is. It's not that big of a tower actually. It looks like a mid ATX. So this one looks like it just pops out. And it should pop out like so. There we go. It is glass, which is nice. Up to date with its competitors. And the airbag should just slide out. So yeah, this is a big graphics card. The 5080 is no joke. I know it's been proven not to be very efficient, but it is what it is. I like the fact that it doesn't sag either. It has like a little bracket right underneath here that supports it. Wire management though, I'm actually very impressed. This is nicely tucked away. The liquid cooler is an MSI liquid cooler, full RGB. That's an added bonus. So the I/O ports on top, it looks like we do have a power, a reset button it looks like for an R, a mic input, headphone output, USB-A, USB-C, and a button dedicated for the LED lights. And this mesh cover can be fully removed and dust off. And then, looking at the rear, we do have a sticker saying use GPU port for HDMI. I'm assuming that's what this is. So if we peel this off, yes, we do have an HDMI for the motherboard. A flash BIOS button, 2 USB-A 3.1, 4 standard USB-A, 2 USB-A 3.0, Ethernet port, Wi-Fi antennas, microphone, headphone, and a blue one that I can't really think about at the time I make this video. I'll probably have it in the video and text right there on the very bottom. But the GPU itself, here we have access to the HDMI port. I believe these are display ports. They are. And then right below here is the PSU, which we are going to go ahead and take apart right now and see how much watts it's using. All right, dismantling the power supply. I swear if it's only using 750 watts, something like this should at least be more powerful than 750. Pull out the other side panel real quick and set that aside. Yeah, actually, I'm very surprised how well the wire management is for a pre-built. MSI is not bad. This is my first time disassembling a MSI pre-built PC, and first impressions, the wire management's pretty impressive. Ooh, however, the PSU is not modular. All right, let's slide out this power supply. It's a darn shame it's not modular, so there's a bunch of wires that I'm battling just to get this out. All right, here's the power supply. This is a high power 850 watts. Not bad, actually. I was expecting 750 to be honest, but it definitely is a high power brand. But I'm glad to be informed that it is indeed a higher than 750 watts at least. Now, the thing I am most noticing in the motherboard where the hardware components are is we only have 2 slots of RAM memory. This is known as a DIMM, which stands for dual inline memory modular, which is a darn shame. That means we cannot fit like another T-Force 2 16 gig DDR5 RAMs in here to make this into a 64 gig. You have to make sure you get 32 gig each slot of these to make it a 64 gig. So a slight setback in terms of upgrading the memory if you absolutely want to. But other than that, everything else, all the components that you see here, it's all MSI, including the water cooler, the PC fans, the radiator, which does have built-in RGB. Motherboard has proper heat sinks all around. It is using a Western Digital M.2 SSD, 2 terabytes, not bad. And I do like the fact, even though this long GPU, it's extremely long, this board underneath is made out of metal and definitely does support it, as there's literally little to no sign of sag whatsoever. And the Dragon itself is has a hollow Pokemon graphic effects. And then of course, if we flip it over to its very bottom, we do have a little dust guard right here you could remove and clean up over time if it gets dusty. And I'm assuming this front portion of the PC can easily just pop off like so, exposing the other fans. And I guess this needs to be dust off once in a while. And the funny thing is, if you're concerned about sag, they also threw in this GPU stand right here, which you could actually place and put right underneath your graphic card to prevent the sag. I thought that was kind of interesting that was included in the box. So let's go ahead and turn this on and see what kind of outputs we have. Here we go. So the fans up front are clearly intakes, and the rear fan is the proper exhaust. So we have a good amount of airflow in here. And with all the RGB colors on, this is how it looks like. So let's go ahead and plug this in and hook it up to a monitor and see what kind of performance number we get out of this machine, as well as see how much each component will cost us if we decide to build this on our own, build like a similarly spec'd Costco 580 like this bad boy is. And here are those performance numbers that the shark fin antenna final scores are. So using Cinebench 2024, the CPU multi-score is scored of 1507, single score 133, with a ratio of 11.32x. Now during these Geekbench scores, the max CPU temperature reached 75 Celsius, which isn't bad, which means this liquid cooler is doing a good job. It didn't even come close to 80. And then the average was just 55 Celsius as well. Now, unfortunately, the RTX 5080 is unsupported for a GPU test for Cinebench 2024. That's why it's grayed out, and there's been a lot of talks on like forum stuff, like on Reddit. People always have been experiencing this problem. So until they update it, unfortunately, we are unable to do GPU performance. But when I was doing Geekbench scores on games, running built-in benchmarks, this GPU, spoiler, it's OP. Because if we look at the graph for Cyberpunk, when I was first running the Geekbench scores, I was just using 1440p Ultra, and it was a walk in the park. This computer was easily able to run 300 FPS or over. So since basic Ultra wasn't doing anything to this GPU, I decided to go and use its next option, that is overdrive with ray tracing. And the scores are right here for these games. So on Cyberpunk, at 1440p, overdrive with ray tracing, it was able to average 258 FPS. And then at 1080p, not sure why you want to do this, but it was able to fly through this at 318 FPS. I also did Fortnite Ultra, 200 FPS, no issues. However, 1080p, for some reason, it was averaging 180 FPS. Something tells me the GPU or the game itself isn't optimized for the GPU, because again, it's over 180 FPS. It's still extremely fast. Same happened on Apex 1440 Ultra. It was averaging 444 plus. Same goes for 1080p. No difference whatsoever. In other words, this thing is again really powerful for AAA title PC games, to a point where it's easily able to come close to 200 FPS, even in the most ridiculously high setting available. So you could easily run mods on this thing, especially with the 16 gig VRAM that this thing has. You could easily run a lot of things with this graphics card. So parts, and what would it cost us to rebuild this computer if we want to save some money? All right, so the CPU is obviously a AMD Ryzen 9900X 12 core, and its retail price at the time of this video, you can buy it on Amazon for $400. The cooler, however, this liquid cooler, I wasn't able to find the exact one, but I did find this one that looks fairly close to this one. It retails for $150 from MSI. Now this is using a Triforce non-RGB, 2 16 gigs DDR5 RAM, and in total this will cost $89. The motherboard is a one-off MSI motherboard. I wasn't able to find it, but the last one was sold on eBay for $97. And then the storage that this computer came equipped with is a Western Digital 2TB M.2 SSD, green, and this can be purchased right now for $120. And then the graphics card, of course, is MSI Gaming RTX 5080, 16 gig gaming Trio OC overclocked graphics card for $1,580. And the PSU that this one's using is a OEM gold rated one, which can be purchased for $96. So this brings us our grand total of this PC with its case included. The case itself does sell for $170 from MSI. It's just $2,699.58, and there's a $20 rebate as well. So using PC Part Picker, substituting a motherboard with another similar one, we can at least lower the price to $2,660 with that $20 case rebate. In other words, this is actually a fair deal from Costco, as it pretty much will cost you around the same if you like to build an exact one. So yes, this is, in conclusion, a fair deal. Just however, since everything is entirely from MSI, there is some factory sealed tape around this PC, primarily on the GPU. So if removed, this will obviously avoid your warranty, which makes it kind of difficult to future upgrade this computer. But most standard manufacturer warranty, especially the one from Costco, is 2 years. I feel past the 2-year mark, you'll be perfectly fine if you like to make future upgrades on this thing. But the RAM memory doesn't have any like factory seal stickers, so if you like to upgrade these with RGB lights, you can do that, especially if you like to upgrade it to a 64 gig later down the line. But the PCU, I did inspect it, there's no factory seals in that thing, so if it does fail on you, not only do you have factory warranty, but if you like to upgrade it to 1,000 watts, you could totally do that without voiding anything. So other than that, my overall conclusion and thoughts about this thing, it's a great deal. It's definitely Costco's most powerful gaming PC you could buy right now. You could literally walk into the store and pick it up without having to order anything online. It's super convenient to get your hands on. The packaging, MSI did an excellent job with the unboxing experience. I wasn't expecting to throw in a travel bag. MSI is definitely one of the most high quality pre-built gaming computers brands out there. I wasn't expecting this high quality in terms of the quality control. I haven't found any loose clips or loose connectors or anything like that. Everything was mint. And not sure if you can hear this, but it does run pretty quiet. So if you're looking for the best of the best, this is it right here, and it's available at Costco. But yeah, operating system, not including taxes, this is actually a really good deal. Now, if you wish to watch more, maybe you missed my previous video where I managed to steal a incredible deal at Walmart on their pre-build. I covered that video in this video over there. And if I see another deal like that coming out in the near future, make sure you are subscribed so you can also snag on a deal like I did. Thank you so much for watching.